Thank you for the opportunity, Samarga Shiksha, Andhra Pradesh.
Hello children, I am P. Arun Kumari from KGBV Kotananduru, East Godavari district. I am your biology teacher. Today let's discuss about second chapter respiration.
As we all know, respiration is the energy releasing system of oxygen. The food provides energy for all body activities only after breakdown through the process known as respiration. Respiration leads to find utilization of food. The term respiration comes from Latin word respire. The Latin word respire means breathe. Steps in respiration. First one is breathing. Air movement into and out of lungs. This is called breathing. Gases exchange at lungs level. Exchange of gases between alveoli and blood. Gas transport by blood. Transport of oxygen from blood capillaries of alveoli to body cells and return of carbon dioxide. Gases exchange at tissue level. Exchange of oxygen from blood into the cells and carbon dioxide from cells into the blood. Cellular respiration, using oxygen in cell processes to produce carbon dioxide and water, releasing energy to be used for life. Children, you can see the diagram on the screen. This is the pathway of air. The pathway taken by air in the respiratory system. This is nostrils, nasal cavity, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchus, bronchioles, alveolus, blood. Air enters the body through the nostrils. Air is filled in the nasal cavities and also its temperature is brought close of the body. Pharynx is the junction of respiratory and digestive system. Epiglottis, a flap-like muscular wall, controls movement of air and food towards their respective passage. Larynx is also called sound box. It contains vocal cords. When air passes out of the lungs and over the vocal cords, it causes them to vibrate. This produces sounds on the basis of our speech, songs, etc. Trachea is also called windpipe. It channels air to lungs. The bronchi further divided into smaller and smaller branches called bronchioles. Bronchioles finally terminate in clusters of air sacs called alveoli in the lungs, which are very small and numerous. Gases exchange takes place here as blood capillaries take up oxygen and expel carbon dioxide here. Carries oxygen to each and every cell of the body. The process is called pathway of air. Students, you can see the diagram on the screen. This is the epiglottis. The epiglottis is an important part of the respiratory system. Epiglottis A flap-like muscular wall controls movement of air and food towards their respective passage. For the nasal cavity, the air goes in the pharynx. There is a thicky probum here. From the pharynx, there are two passages, beginning with a nearly same opening and ending into separate ones, one to the lungs and one to the stomach. It is important that air goes into one and food into the other. It is also important that food does not enter the tube through which air goes into the lungs. The traffic kept properly channeled by a flap-like wall, the epiglottis that product the tube to the lung, arresting enter to the food.
Inspiration. The pressure in the lungs is decreased and the air rushes in. The muscles of the diaphragm contract to make it descend. The rib cage moves upwards and outwards. The pressure in lungs is increased and the air is pushed out. The diaphragm becomes dome-shaped, relaxes and moves up. Simultaneously, the rib cage moves down and in.
Children, you can see the diagram on the screen is diaphragm. We know that breathing is the process of inhaling and exhaling. The organs involves mainly the lungs. You cannot see your lungs, but it is easy to feel them in action. Now, you will feel your chest getting slightly bigger. Now breathe out the air and feel your chest return to its regular size. You will just felt the power of your lungs. The lungs themselves can neither draw in air nor push in out. Instead, the chest wall muscles and another flexible flattened muscles is called diaphragm. Diaphragm helps the lungs in moving air into and out of them. You can see the diaphragm in diagram. The chest wall is made up of ribs, muscles and the skin. The ribs are attached at the angle of the spine. When you inhale, the chest wall moves up and expands. This causes an increase in the volume of the chest cavity. The diaphragm may be imaged as the floor if you think of the chest cavity as a room. When the diaphragm is relaxed, when you breathe out, it is in the shape of the dome with the convex side of the dome extending into the chest cavity. When diaphragm contracts during inhalation, it flattens out a bit or a dumb moves downwards. As a result, the volume of the chest cavity is the increase. During respiration, air can outside enter into the lungs by increase the chest cavity. Increase in the chest cavity is made by pulling the diaphragm down and pushing the ribs forward. As here, air pressure in the lungs is reduced. Air from outside enters the lungs through external nostrils. Gases exchange alveoli of capillaries. Gases exchange take place within the lungs by diffusion from the alveoli to blood capillaries. The carbon dioxide in the blood is exchanges for oxygen in the alveoli. These teeny air sacs in the lungs are numerous and only one cell thick. Blood, dark red in color, flows from the heart through these capillaries and collect oxygen from the alveoli. At the same time, CO2 passes out of the capillaries into the alveoli. Oxygen-rich blood is returned to the heart and pumped out of all parts of the body. This is the diagram. Alveoli to capillaries gases exchange. The total lung capacity of human beings is nearly 580. Next, transportation of gases. The relative amount of different gases in air and their combining capacity with hemoglobin and other substances in blood. Determine their transport via blood in the body. When oxygen present in the air is within normal limits around 21%, then almost of all it is carried in the protein present in the red blood cells. As oxygen is diffused in the blood, it rapidly combines with the hemoglobin to form oxyhemoglobin. Not only hemoglobin can combine with oxygen, but the reverse can also happen to hold a molecule of hemoglobin and oxygen. Carbon dioxide is usually transported as a bicarbonate, while some amount of it combines with hemoglobin and rest in dissolved in blood plasma. The equation is Hb plus O2 gives rise to HbO2. HbO2 gives rise to Hb plus O2. Gases exchange capillaries to cells and back. In the capillaries over the tissues, hemoglobin meets a very different environment. The tissue cells are continuously using oxygen, hence the concentration of oxygen is low in them. It might be only 1/3 of the in the lungs. As the concentration of oxygen is so low, oxyhemoglobin releases the oxygen molecules that enters the cells. In the reaction that occur within cells in our bodies, carbon dioxide and water produced and energy is released to be used up for different purposes. Cellular respiration. Cellular respiration means using oxygen in cell processes to produce carbon dioxide and water, releasing energy to be used for life processes. All living cells must carry out cellular respiration. During respiration, energy is produced when the glucose or fatty acids are oxidized in the cells. As this process occurs in the cells, this is called cellular respiration. It can be in the process of oxygen, that is aerobic respiration, or in its absence, that is anaerobic respiration, means fermentation. Cellular respiration in prokaryote cells like that of bacteria occurs within the cytoplasm. In eukaryote cell, cytoplasm and mitochondria are the site of cellular respiration. The complete breakdown of sugar molecules with the release of all its available energy involves a series of different chemical reactions. The energy releasing in cellular respiration is stored in special compound called ATP. ATP is utilized for carrying out other functions in the cell. This is the mitochondria. Mitochondria can be seen with a special microscope called electron microscope. Mitochondria are sac-like structures present in the cytoplasm of the cell. Mitochondria have two compartments, an inner compartment and outer compartment. The substance in the inner compartment is called matrix. The matrix is surrounded by a membrane called inner membrane. The inner membrane is thrown into several folds called cristae. The cristae extends into the matrix. The space between the folds is continuous with the outer compartment. On the inner membrane, projecting into the matrix are a large number of particulars called elementary particulars. These particulars have a spiral head and a stalk. They are attached to the inner membrane by their stalk, and the head production of the particular is in the matrix. The outer compartment is surrounded by another membrane, the outer membrane. The outer membrane is smooth and has no productions. The inner membrane, the matrix, and the elementary particulars in the mitochondria have large number of enzymes and other required proteins of the respiration and energy production. From the breakdown of glucose, the energy is released and stored up into the special compounds known as ATP. The ATP means adenosine triphosphate. It is a small partial chemical energy. The energy currency of the cell is ATP, an energy rich compound that is capable supplying energy whenever needed with the cell. Each ATP molecule gives 1200 calories of energy. This energy is stored in the form of phosphate bonds. In the bond is broken, the stored energy is released. So the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.
Mitochondria, structure and function. Objective: to learn about the structure and functions of mitochondria. Mitochondria are located in the cytoplasm of cells and are among the largest cell organelles within a cell. They are called powerhouses of cells because they convert energy into forms that are usable by the cell. Mitochondria vary in shape from almost spherical to elongated ovals. Mitochondria are bound by two membranes. Each membrane is a phospholipid bilayer with embedded proteins. The outer membrane is smooth, while the inner membrane has many inward folds called cristae. The folds increase the surface area and are the working surfaces for mitochondrial reactions. The inner membrane is selectively permeable to certain molecules, such as pyruvic acid and adenosine triphosphate (ATP). On the cristae, sugar is combined with oxygen to produce ATP, the primary energy source for the cell. The space surrounding the cristae is a matrix filled with dense solution containing enzymes, coenzymes, water, and other molecules involved in cellular respiration. Mitochondria are the sites of cellular respiration, which finally generates fuel for the cell's activities. Mitochondria are also involved in other cell processes such as cell division and growth, as well as cell death. Mitochondria are semi-autonomous. They are partially dependent on the cell to replicate and grow. They have their own DNA, ribosomes, and can make their own proteins. Summary: mitochondria are the powerhouses of cells. Mitochondria are involved in the production of energy, cell division, and growth.
Accumulation of lactic acid results in muscular pain. If you take brisk walk, slow jogging, running of same distance, you feel that there is increase in pain levels. This is because of lactic acid accumulation. It seems as if the lactic acid was being produced rapidly by the activity muscles and then only gradually removed from the blood after exercise. The simplest explanation you can produce at this stage is that the sugar in the working muscles was being changed to lactic acid. The energy stored in lactic acid molecules is less than that in sugar molecules, and if the acid comes from the sugar, then the energy released could be used to rebuild ATP from ADP and phosphate. During a 100 meters race, a well-trained athletic can hold his breath all the time. It is until afterwards that he pants. In this case, the muscles are using the energy released during the anaerobic respiration. It is not until afterward that the athletic obtains the oxygen needed in order to remove the lactic acid. Therefore, when you undertake strenuous exercise, we build up what is called an oxygen debt, which has be rapid later. In a longer race, athletics have to be breathe all the time, so some lactic acid is removed while they are running, and they can go on for longer before becoming exhausted. The presence of lactic acid in the blood is the main cause of muscle fatigue. If the body is rested long enough, the tightness goes. We can see the experiment on the screen. This is the anaerobic respiration experiment. This is the most important experiment. Aim of the experiment: to prove that carbon dioxide heat is released during anaerobic respiration. The apparatus required: thermos flask, splitted cracks, thermometer, wash bottle, glass tube, liquid paraffin, glucose solution, yeast cells, bicarbonate solution. Now let's see the procedure. Remove dissolved oxygen from glucose solution by boiling it in the thermos flask for a minute and then cooling it without shaking. Now add some yeast to the glucose solution and fix two folded rubber stopper to the flask. The supply of oxygen from the air can be cut off by pouring a 1 centimeter layer of liquid paraffin into the mixture through the holes. Insert one end of the thermometer into the thermos flask. See the end of the thermometer cup inside the solution. arranged for any gas produced by the yeast to escape through a wash bottle containing bicarbonate solution or lime water as shown in the figure. Add a few drops of Digen green or Janus green B solution to the yeast suspension before you pour liquid paraffin over it. The blue Digen green solution turns pink when oxygen is in short supply around it. Warm the apparatus to about 37 Fahrenheit in order to speed up to the test. Keep the apparatus undisturbed for 1 or 2 days. After conducting this experiment, we observed after 2 days it can be observed that lime water of the wash bottle turns into milky white precipitate. Increase in temperature noted on yeast cells respire and release energy. Alcohol smell given off from the flask. Now let's discuss about respiration in plants. The most plants exchange of gases takes place through stomata. There are other areas on the plant body as well through which gases exchange take place, like surface of roots, lenticels on stem, etc. Some plants have specialized structures like breathing roots, mangrove plant, as well as the tissue in orchids. Breathing roots and tissue in orchids help plants to take oxygen to produce energy, and carbon dioxide is released. Inside the plant's openings lead to a series of spaces between the cells which form a continuous network all over the plant. The whole system works by diffusion. As the oxygen is used up by the cells, a gradient develops between the cells and the air in the spaces, and similarly between the air spaces and the air outside stomata and lenticels, so oxygen passes in. In the same way, as more carbon dioxide is given out by the cells, a gradient occurs in the reverse direction and it passes out.
Now, let us learn about the process of respiration in plants. As you already know, in most of the plants, the exchange of gases takes place at stomata present in leaf. Apart from stomata, there are other areas on the plant body through which gaseous exchange takes place, like surface of roots, lenticels on stem, etc. Some plants, such as mangrove, have specialized structures like breathing roots, and some plants like orchids have tissues that produces oxygen is also required by plants to produce energy and expel carbon dioxide. Let us learn the conduction within the plant. Inside the plant, there exists openings which leads to a series of spaces between the cells. These spaces are formed all over the plant. The spaces are very large in leaves and smaller in other parts of the plant. The air spaces are covered with water. The oxygen present in the air spaces dissolves in water and passes through the porous cell walls into the cytoplasm, where the sugar is broken down into carbon dioxide and water with the liberation of the energy. In the similar way, carbon dioxide also passes out into the air spaces. The whole system works by the process of diffusion, that is, as the oxygen is utilized by the cells, a gradient develops between the cells and the air in the spaces, and similarly between the air and the spaces and the air outside the stomata and lenticels, so oxygen passes in. In the same way, as more carbon dioxide is expelled by the cells, a gradient develops in the reverse direction and it passes out. Let us learn how different plants absorb oxygen through their roots. Most of the plants can aerate, supply air, their roots by taking in the oxygen from the lenticels or through the surface of their root hairs, as their walls are very thin. This oxygen at lenticels or surface of root hairs is obtained from the air spaces between the soil particles. Plants having their roots in wet places like ponds or marshes cannot do this. They are adapted to these waterlogged conditions by having much larger air spaces which connect the stems with the roots, making diffusion from the upper parts much more efficient. The most usual adaptation is to have a hollow stem. Next time, cut the stems of some of the plants near pond or marsh and see how many are hollow when compared to a similar number of species of plants growing in normal soil. It is observed that the problem of air transport is more difficult for trees, and many plants cannot survive with their roots permanently in water. But the mangrove tree of the tropics is exempted because it sends aerial roots above the surface and takes in oxygen in that manner.
Conduction within the plant. The stomatal openings lead to the series of spaces between the cells inside the plant, which form a continuous network of all over the plant. The spaces are very large in the leaves, much smaller in the other parts of the plant. The air spaces lined with water, where the oxygen is dissolved in this and passes through the porous cell walls into the cytoplasm. Here the sugar is broken down into the carbon dioxide and water with the liberation of the energy. The carbon dioxide passes out into the air spaces by a similar method. The whole system works by diffusion. As the oxygen is used up by the cells, a gradient develops between the cells and the air in the spaces. Similarly, between the air in the spaces and the air outside the stomata and lenticels, so oxygen passes it. In the same way, as more carbon dioxide is released by the cells, a gradient occurs in the reverse direction and it passes out of the environment. Next one is aeration of roots. Most plants can aerate their roots by taking into the oxygen through the lenticels or through the surface of their root hairs. They obtain oxygen from the air spaces existing between the soil particles. But plants which have their roots in very wet places such as ponds or marshes are unable to obtain oxygen. They are adapted to these water-logged conditions by having much larger air spaces which connect the stems with the roots, making diffusion from the upper parts much more different. The most usual adaptation is to have a hollow stem. Next time when you are by a pond or marsh, cut the stems of some of the plants which are growing there and see how many are hollow compared with the similar number of species of plants growing in normal soil. The problem of air transport is more different for trees and not many survive with their roots permanently in water. An exception is the mangrove trees of the tropics which have aerial roots above the soil surface and takes in oxygen through these roots. Okay children, let's see the experiments now.
Here, let us perform an activity on how the heat is produced in germinating seeds during the process of respiration. Click each tab to know more. Take the germinated seeds, which are prepared for the activity of evolution of carbon dioxide in respiration. Place the germinating seeds in a thermoflask. Remove the lid of thermoflask and prepare a cork with the help of thermocol or rubber or any other material provided. The cork must have a hole at the center in order to insert a thermometer. Now, close the flask with this tight-fitting cork and insert the thermometer through its hole. Take care that bulb of the thermometer must dip into the germinating seeds. Seal the hole present in the middle of the cork with either grease or Vaseline after inserting the thermometer through it. Record the temperature once for every 2 hours and continue this process for a total duration of 24 hours. Observe and note down the readings of temperature. It is observed that the temperature in the thermoflask increases. Draw a graph based on these values. Graph shows that the temperature is increasing steadily. Thus, from this experiment, it is understood that the heat gets generated during the process of respiration.
Apparatus. A bowl of sprout seeds. Lime water. A beaker. Plastic bottle. Fill 3/4 of the bottle with lime water. Keep the sprout seeds in the jar as shown. Close the plastic bottle tightly. After 2 days, it can be observed that lime water of the injection bottle or beaker placed in the bottle containing the germinating seeds turned into milky white precipitate. As you can see, the lime water turns into milky white after 2 days. It indicates that germinating seeds liberated carbon dioxide which turns lime water into white precipitate.
Now, let us perform an activity to know about the gases present in our breath. Click each tab to know more. To find out the gases that are present in our breath. To perform this experiment, the following materials are required. They are measuring beaker, phenolphthalein solution, 200 ml beaker with water, lime water, straws. Take a measuring beaker, fill up to 200 ml mark with water. Add 10 to 12 drops of phenolphthalein solution in the water. Add 3 ml of lime water to the water. Stir the water with a stick. Observe the changes in the water. Insert the straw into the beaker. Blow the air from the mouth. Once again, observe the changes in the water. Take lime water in the beaker and blow the air. Observe the changes in the lime water. From the activity, we observe that the pink-colored solution changes to normal water color or colorless when we blow the air into the solution. Similarly, the lime water turns milky when we blow air into it. From the activity, we notice that phenolphthalein indicator is an acid or a base indicator. The solution color turns pink since lime water is base and it changes to colorless when we blow air into it. Similarly, the lime water turns milky when the air is blown through it. From the two observations, we can say that air we exhaled out is a gas called carbon dioxide.
Today's assignment. This is the end of today's session. Make sure to do the assignment I have given. Thank you. Have a good day.